Hey guys, so I just finished listening to the Danish Deception. I personally want to call it the Danish Deception slash Nigerian Negligence because that's exactly what it is. Let me start off by saying she has an attorney, as which she told us. Her attorney most likely advised her, he coached her into maybe creating this 20-part series because she could have told us all about this Danish guy in 1 hour. She didn't need to be smiling and telling about all this and that. She could have told us in 1 hour and be like, he's a piece of trash, he's this, he's that. Watch out for this guy, he's a scammer, he scams people out of thousands of dollars, leave him alone. But instead she gave us 25 10-minute episodes. And that's because her lawyer said, you need to first explain to people that you fell in love with him and then that he tricked you and he deceived you. And that's how lawyers go at juries. If you ever see a lawyer going at a jury, whether it's on a TV show or real life, that's how they go about juries. They first tell how their client or how the person opposite to the client was loving and caring, and then they turn into a monster because they want to play with your emotions, and that's exactly what he was doing. Onyeka is saying all this, that she was deceived, he lied over and over, but the reality is she wanted to be deceived. Onyeka liked this idea of a white knight. That's what she wanted. Her sister, I don't know if it's her older sister or I think it's her older sister. She has a white husband. Onyeka was like, I want a white man too, and he's gonna be better than yours in every way possible. And I also want to speak on the topic that's not often spoken about in the black community, which is fetishizing mixed babies and mixed children. You know, there are a lot of black people who want mixed babies, but they won't admit it to themselves. And the truth is, and that's because the truth is too hard to deal with. Like, no one wants to be like, yo, I'm ugly, and I don't think I don't think being black is beautiful, or I don't think being dark, especially like, you see a lot of dark-skinned people who will go out and find a mixed baby. Or if they can't find a mixed baby, like what a lot of black people will do that are dark-skinned who don't date white people, they'll just marry a very, very light black person. So they'll have light black babies. But yeah, Onyeka wanted mixed babies like many black people do, not all, but many black men and women. And, even the way she described him, like white, blue eyes, blonde hair. I was like, what? So that's what she wanted. And I'm reading the comments and I'm seeing that a lot of people were getting triggered. Not a lot, but like I was reading the comics, and a lot of these comments were black women who were like, oh, you guys shouldn't be so mean to her, she got deceived. And when I would click on their page, they all had the same thing in common. They were married to a white man or in a relationship with a white man. And it's like, oh, okay, so you feel triggered now. Like, you feel that people are coming after you for your decision. And it's like, no one's coming after you. You're a white man. We don't know him. And he didn't, scam you and loved ones out of thousands of dollars. But if that's how you feel, maybe you should have been with a black man. I don't know. But, I see a lot of people feeling attacked. And as I said, she wanted a white man from the beginning. She said that she was never in a serious relationship, which, I mean, I'm going to take her word. But at her age, you would think that she would, like, she's not an ugly girl. Like, there are tons of Nigerian Igbo men who will be like, yeah, I'll marry you. I'll marry you. Men that are her age and older, they're like, yeah, I'll marry you. So that's a huge red flag to me. Why couldn't you have found an Igbo man or another black man? Doesn't have to be Igbo. That's because she don't date black men. She was on The Bachelor, and I didn't watch that show, but when she was on it, from what I saw, like, I think an episode, and she was just fawning over this white man. I think his name was Colton. And then even that, after that, she got kicked off. She was on Bachelor Love Island or something. Still the same thing, and no one liked her there. So when she met this, Danish guy, she was like, oh, this is my chance. Like, I got what I was looking for all this time. and that's why she believed, or she knew he was lying, but she wanted it so bad that she was like, I don't care, because what he was telling her was just like so outlandish. It didn't even make sense. And the fact that she described this man as a Calvin Klein model, and then I go and look at him and he looks like he's a Ross model, Walmart, and if you're being generous, Target. I was like, what Calvin Klein wear? Like, what Calvin Klein model are you talking about? No, he does not look like no Calvin Klein model. Calvin Klein that's luxury. Like, that's a luxury brand. It's not as like luxury as like Gucci and all that, but it's still a luxury brand. They have the Calvin Klein model. Like when they do New York Fashion Show, Calvin Klein models walk. So you're saying that he can be in a New York Fashion Show? No, he can't. No. But the way she was looking at her, you can tell she was just like so happy and just like that was it. And like even everything that happened, it transpired too fast, but she didn't care. Like a few weeks into talking to him, then she's like, oh, I'm really feeling him. And then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy you tickets to France, like come to France on a business trip. If that was me, I would have been like, if I was a girl, I would have been like, no, like that's way too soon. They were only talking for about a month, or I think 2 months. How are you gonna? So you think that flying to 2 months after, and this is just, yeah, you were talking a lot on the phone, like you guys were doing video call or and voice calls, but that's still not enough. You weren't seeing him every single day, you weren't seeing him as if like you guys lived in the same city or even the same state. You weren't seeing him. So the fact that she went over there was very negligent. And then the fact that she busted open for him after a month of knowing him through video calls, no HIV test, no STI test, just here, take it. And we all know that if that was a black man, Igbo, Yoruba, it doesn't matter what tribe, or just any black man, she would have been like, 1, you have to get tested, and 2, I'm not giving you nothing for at least 3 months. But Thor Odin's son, King Harold of Denmark, 2 weeks, 1 month, he got it. And and here's the thing, he knew that she was desperate for him. Like, that's why that's why he treated her the way he did. And it wasn't, he was love bombing her, and she knew it, but like I said, she wanted this guy so bad that she did not care. Like, she didn't care at all. And now she's sitting up here telling us that he stole from her and all this stuff. Well, you pretty much gave it away. Like, you gave away your money, you gave away his money. I mean, you gave away your family's money and all that stuff, and friends' money. And you're the one, you compromised yourself. And now you're trying to make us, the viewers, feel sorry for you. Like, no. The only thing you should feel sorry for us for watching your 25 episodes, so we can know what you're talking about. You should feel sorry for us. And the thing that like really annoyed me is, I do study a lot about like foreign countries, and I'm well versed in monarchies and political affairs and things of that nature. But even if I wasn't, I would know that this guy couldn't possibly be related to the royal, like the crown, the king, the crown, the queen, the crown prince of Denmark. This is not Saudi Arabia. And when he was like, I'm a prince, and do you want to meet the queen? I'm thinking, this is not England before Queen Elizabeth died. The queen is not the head monarch, the king is. And like, what? Like, Denmark currently only has two princes. The crown prince, who is the son of the king, and his name is Christian. And they have the king's younger brother, who is Prince Joachim. There are only 2 princes, so if he's none of those princes, what is he? I think he's too old to be the current king's illegitimate child, if he had one. But still, like, it makes no sense. This is European countries have very small small, excuse me, small families as far as their nobility goes. It's not like Saudi Arabia, and that's because, you know, during times of antiquity, they didn't want to fight each other anymore, so they were marrying each other to create. That's why they're all related. Like if you go back just like 100 years ago, they're all related. The Russian royal family was related to the English royal family. The German royal family was related to the English royal family. So the Spanish too, they're all related. The Danish too, they're all related because they didn't want to fight anymore. So they married into each other's families. So when she said that, I was like, this girl can't be this stupid. This doesn't make any sense. Now, if she would have been like, I met a guy from Saudi Arabia or UAE and he said he was a prince, I would have believed, it would have been more believable, because that country, those two countries have like thousands of princes, and these princes are not even in the line of succession to the, to the royal family. Like, for example, Saudi Arabia has like thousands of princes, and none of them are in succession to the crown prince Mohammed bin Salman. None of them. They're just other princes, probably from other clans, but they're all super rich. So if he would have been like, yeah, I'm from Saudi Arabia, I'm from UAE, I'm a prince, and you don't even know this prince's name, so it would be kind of hard to look him up. So that's more believable. But he says he's a prince from Denmark, and she's like, oh. And I know she told her family, Nigerians love opulence. They love, flashiness and, all that stuff. So, her family ate it up. And, the other thing that just made me laugh is he's a backup Olympian. Like, that whole part where she was like, my cousin was talking to him, and my cousin was like, do you play any sports? He was like, I play, what did he say? Was it handball? Yeah, handball. And the cousin was like, isn't it an Olympic sport? Every sport is an Olympic sport. Every sport in the Olympics is an Olympic sport. It's like saying, hey, do you play tennis? Yeah, that's an Olympic sport. Swimming, Olympic sport. Basketball, Olympic sport. Hockey is an Olympic sport. They're all Olympic sports. Like, why are they acting like handball is some obscure, secret Olympic sport that only a few selected, make it into that sport, and they're all super good? It's just like saying you play tennis. Oh, it's an Olympic sport. Like, that part I didn't get. It was just weird. But also the fact that he said he was a backup and he got a bronze medal and a gold medal, and he donated the bronze medal to charity and gave the gold medal to his mother, was just ridiculous. And it made no sense. And like I said, this all happened because he was white. If he was any kind of black and they were like, I'm a gold medalist, they would look them up right then and there. They'd be like, hold on, let me look at you up real quick. And they were like, nah, you're lying, You're lying, because that made no sense, And him meeting her parents before they were engaged, that made me very upset, because we all know that in Nigerian culture, especially Nigerian culture, but all African cultures, you can't meet no parents before you're ready to do introduction. You don't meet parents. But then what made me even more like annoyed was when he met her. Like, she was like, my father's going to his mother's funeral, and he was like, I'll be there. And he said it right in front of the father, and the father didn't say anything. And I'm just thinking, an Igbo elder would have beat up any younger Igbo man that would have been like, I'm going to see your mother's burial. He would have been cussing an Igbo and slapping him and just everything. He would have told the whole Igbo, unite, how he's not a real Igbo, and that Igbo boy would have never been able to go back to church. But this guy can just be like, yeah, I'm going to see your mother's burial. I don't know her, but I'm going to go anyway. That is another red flag, because this girl should have been like, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. But again, that was the whole love bombing, and the fact that I'm sure after he left, the Igbo parents gassed him up and was like, yeah, he's a good man. He comes from a good family and blah, blah. That's why he was so easily able to trick all of them. That's why the parents gave him money. And then I heard some people saying online that her father's a chief. I don't know if that's true. Oh yeah, and then he sold the whole thing with the kola nut. Now, if you guys don't know, kola nut in Igbo culture is very important. So not anybody can just see the kola nut. So that also made me annoyed too. I was like, this random person you don't know, you're giving him too many privileges. He's allowed to see your mother's funeral, go to Nigeria with you guys, and then he's allowed to see the kola nut. Which it was just ridiculous, But now him telling her to quit her job was a major red flag. And again, it goes back to my point that if he were black, this wouldn't have happened. Any girl nowadays, if she's dating a black man and the black man says, yo, quit your job, she's gonna go off, she can go crazy. But this guy can tell her, yo, quit your job. And she was just like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll quit it. And, another thing is like the whole thing about him being from the royal family, but when he was telling her that he had he was selling a property to a wealthy Danish family, but he didn't know them. Like, that makes no sense. You're rich yourself. You're not just rich, you're wealthy. You come from old money because you're a royal, but you don't know this other wealthy Danish family. You guys should be in the same circle. That's how it works. And the fact that she kept saying, I don't want you for your money, I don't want you for your money, shows that she wanted him for his money. Like, that's what she wanted. She thought she was going to be Meghan Markle. She thought she was going to be the Danish, she's going to be Meghan Markle. She even took a picture like Meghan Markle, which is weird. But she thought she was going to be Meghan Markle. And she thought she was going to have her little fairy tale wedding. And she was going to be in carriages. And then, this ain't the Princess Diaries or one of those Lifetime Prince, long lost Prince movies. No, this is real life. And she thought she'd be Meghan Markle. She thought she was going to have her little biracial kids. Her, her Danish, a white knight who was going to be flying her around the world. And she was going to have princess duties. Nope, this is real life. And then she's going to act like, this guy was this mastermind, criminal mastermind. Like, he wasn't Ocean's 11. He wasn't Catch Me If You Can. Like, this guy was not smart about anything, nor was he, nor did he take time about anything. Any fifth grader, any high school student, freshman, any high school freshman could have been like, he's lying. Like, it didn't make sense. And I believe that Onyeka knew he was lying, but she was just so greedy that she was like, I don't care. Because that whole thing about, he was like, yo, what do you want? I think it was like, was it Gucci or Coach? And he was like, and she was like, I always wanted this Coach bag, but it was very expensive. And he was like, get what you want. And she kept saying to herself, I don't want him to think that I'm just here for his money. And she took the $200 sunglasses and he was like, you're cheap. Now, that was stupid on her part, because take the purse. If this guy is so rich, it's nothing to him. Like, buy the purse. And we all know, if that was a black man and he would have been like, what do you want? She would have got that purse. She probably would have got 2 purses. Or she probably would have got the purse and the sunglasses. But because she had so much respect and she revered this guy so much, not because he was a good guy, just because he was white, that's why she ignored everything and she allowed him to do whatever he wants, Another thing I noticed is that she didn't even care that he was not a Christian. Igbos are all Catholic. Most of them are all Catholic. If they're not Catholic, they're some kind of Christian. And an Igbo girl will always ask you, any man, are you a Christian? And if you're not a Christian, she'll be like, I can't date you. This guy, she didn't care about his religion. She didn't care about nothing. His religion, his education, nothing. She barely knew about his family. And she didn't care, because religion, Christianity in Igbo families is very big. Now, that one part when he was like, I had back surgery, all surgery is pretty major, but back surgery is very major. And then he's flying to Paris in a few days with her, and she didn't even say, "Hey, how's your back?" Like, or she didn't say, "Hey, do you need some ibuprofen, or do you need?" I mean, he's back. That was back surgery, so he probably was given, opioids. But she didn't ask anything about the back surgery, and it's because she didn't care. She didn't care about anything. Like that whole, even when she told the story about her being like, her passing out. How do you just randomly pass out? No one just randomly pass out. And then she had a seizure or alleged seizure, and then she was like, if you don't have a history of seizures, how do you just have a seizure one day? And then she didn't think to go to the doctors in America where she understands the language after having a seizure. Like, it was obvious that he put something in her drink. And then she peed on herself and all that stuff, and then she's telling him that she loves him while she's all soiled, and that's the thing. It's like, of course he took care of you. He should have taken care of you. He's the one who caused it. But she was like, I love you, and he was like, I'm not gonna tell you now because I don't feel it's right. No, I'm thinking, no, you just didn't love her, like, But then again, like, I mean, it does make sense, like. They only knew each other for like a month or 2 months or something. Before she told him that. So it was hard for me to believe that, that he didn't have anything to do with her passing out. But after all this came out, the only person I felt kind of bad for, is the little sister, because, and that's only because younger siblings look up to their older siblings, and I know, like I said before, I know she gassed this guy up. I know she was talking, to her whole entire family, extended relatives. I know they were calling Nigeria and telling them. I know she was telling all her friends, just gassing this guy up. Oh, he's so perfect, he's so loving, he's this and that, So if you're a little sibling and you're hearing that this guy is treating my older sibling so good, he's so good to her, when he comes asking for money, you're gonna be like, yeah, why not? You're a good person. You're gonna be my brother-in-law, and my sister says, you're honest. So I have no reason to believe that you're not honest. But also because he's white. That was just the cherry on top. So yeah, I did feel bad for the little sister. But the other issues I have, not just the sister, but everyone else, is how come no one ever questioned him? And that's the problem. It's not just black people believing white people. It's also white people believing that they themselves are like perfect. Like they don't do, like they're not capable of deceit, or they're not capable of, cons or just being bad people. Because when she told the story about the crypto story, and this guy is like telling this other, like, Denmark is telling her crypto friend about this investment with crypto coins or whatever, and he's like, and they're like, $200,000, and he just gives it to him. It's like, it's because you believe that, like, when you saw him, you saw yourself, and you're like, hey, if I was doing this with somebody else, I would be honest, And that's the problem. Like, no one vetted this guy. No one questioned this guy. Y'all just gave this guy all this money, The other story about, the old man, the white dude who was married to the Danish woman, and she, he scammed her. I mean, he scammed him with the watches. Like, she's like I said, a lot of this story doesn't make any sense. She's saying how this guy knows so much about. He was a watch connoisseur, but then the Danish guy sold him fake watches. Like, if you're a watch connoisseur, you're able to tell what is a real watch or what's a fake watch. or you have a guy you take it to and you're like, yo, look at this and tell me whether it's fake or not. So a lot of this, like I said, a lot of this doesn't make any sense to me. I think a lot of it's just for you know, it's just for show. But also, how come like they never questioned, like when he was asking them for money, like they never went back and like, yo, you know, your man's asking us for money, like, is everything okay? Like all these like fake, oh, I'm trying to buy her a car, I'm trying to buy her a birthday surprise, blah blah. They never came back and like, yo, is he gonna do this for you? Like after the fact, not before, but after the fact. Like if it was a birthday surprise, did you ask her, hey, did it come out? I mean, did he give it? No, they didn't. You know, but like I said, also her parents were very negligent in their role as parents and just as elders. Like, how are you going to not vet this guy and then also give him money, that much money? And like I'm listening to a story and it's like, this guy is if you're saying you allege that he's an international scammer, so why isn't Interpol or the FBI coming after him? Like we all saw what happened to Hush Puppy. Interpol, like FBI got him because according to Onyeka, he stole 300K from her and her people. He stole money from his company in Denmark. He stole money from people in China. So that's probably somewhere near over $1 million. But no, agency is coming after him. Like this doesn't add up. But another thing I wanted to mention or speak on is how people need to stop oversharing on social media. That's how he got her, because she shared too much. So for starters, she should have gave him her phone number. It should have been talking on the phone. That's it. No social media, because when somebody sees your social media, even though it's fake in the sense that it's glamorous and it's embellished, it's still what you want in life. So she wanted to be a girl that flies around and travels a lot. So that's what she was doing. So he saw that. He picked up on that and was like, okay, I can exploit her this way. I can take advantage of that. And that's what he did. He saw that she only surrounds herself with white people and white men. So he was like, okay, she likes white men. And let me tell y'all, when people be like, oh, they don't understand this. No, they understand this very well. They see that a lot of us put them on a pedestal. So he, as a Danish white man, was like, yeah, I know that they're going to put me on a pedestal. And he could see it. And he exploited that. But what was really crazy was her taking his passport and his visa. And it's like, no, I'm not going. He was like, no, I'm done with you. I want to divorce you. And she was like, no, this is not how it's going to end. I love you. We're supposed to be together for life, and that's how marriages work. You just don't throw them away. I'm thinking, after you found out that he was a notorious scammer and he stole $300,000 from your family and your friends, and you were still fine with it. He was a notorious gambler. Like that's what he was gambling. He was in rehab, out of rehab, and still you were like, nope. I'm not gonna let you go. And she took his passport. That was crazy. And I think it's Onyeka who needs to go to a rehab, because it shows that she's that desperate for a white man that she was willing to just overlook everything he did just to have him, and just to possibly have those mixed biracial children. But let this be a cautionary tale for all those people, both men and women, black men and black women, who believe that the grass is greener on the other side. White people, white men, white women will treat you better. Let this be a cautionary tale. And it's not just Onyeka. I mean, look at Halle Berry. Halle Berry, she was married to, she was dating, what's his name? Gabriel Aubry, who's this French-Canadian guy. That guy beat her up. What happened? She didn't say, no, I'm done with white men. No, she went to another one. Olivier Martinez, French-Spanish guy. She married him, but then their relationship got very toxic and they divorced in 2016. Now Halle Berry wants to go to a black man. And now she's saying that Van Hunt is because that's who she's dating now, or relationship now. She's saying Van Hunt is the man she was always looking for, and but she's saying this now that she's old. Like Halle Berry's 60 years old, but when she was younger and she was getting like top movies and she was on the call list and all that stuff, she didn't want no black men. After after Wesley Snipes and Eric Benet, she was like, nope, white men. But then now she's like, nope, I'm old. I want a black man now. And and it's not just Megan. Also, it's not just Halle Berry. Also, Meghan Markle. I said this in one of my other videos. Meghan Markle, her father was a deadbeat. Her first husband was abusive. But then, what did she do? She didn't say, "Hey, I'm gonna stop, dating white men." No, she looked for another one. She found Prince Harry. Even though, yeah, she's rich now, but her life is very stressful because her, the royal family does not want her. So, like, was it worth it? Sure, maybe it was worth it to her, but money is not everything. It's not like she was poor. Meghan Markle was not poor, nothing near poor, but, it's what she wanted. And like I always say, if this guy was black and doing all this stuff, what's it called? Onyeka would have been like, I'm done with all black men forever. I got scammed by this one black guy, and he scammed me and my family out of $300K. I'm done with all black men. But even after all this, Onyeka is going to look for another white man until she finds the white man she's looking for, because that's exactly what she wants. She wants a white man. But thank you for tuning in to another episode of I Speak African. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you like today's episode, and if you guys have any stories or confessions, please make sure that you reach out to me at ispeakafrican12@gmail.com. And remember, these episodes are also on Spotify. Thank you and stay blessed.